Right now at 6, a hostage standoff takes a violent turn.
We got the subject down.
Plus, what drove Joe Kent to resign from a top national security job working for the president.
There is a real, genuine ideological commitment against these types of actions.
Then, the local programs at the center of controversial federal cuts and what ChatGPT had to do with it.
We're not going to feel that right now. We're going to feel it a couple decades from now.
And later, we'll take you to the Rose City welcome for the Thorns' brand new head coach.
I think when you scan the world about the women's teams, Portland is one of the biggest teams in the world.
But first, let's get to a breaking update in Salem, where state police just released new details about a man deputies shot during what appeared to be a hostage situation.
Let's get right to our Joe Ranieri live in Salem. Joe, what have you learned so far?
Well, within the last 20 minutes or so, you guys, we learned that there were 2 911 calls made from this gray house behind me earlier this morning. Now, the first one was made just after 6 o'clock this morning. The second call was right around 7 o'clock. Now, that second call is when a person told dispatchers that they were being held hostage. When deputies arrived around 7 to perform a welfare check, they say they found 39-year-old Juan Gomez Valles inside holding 2 knives. According to Oregon State Police, that's when a fight broke out and when at least one deputy shot Valles. OSP says 2 of the deputies involved were both recruits with less than 1 year on the job. Earlier today, I spoke with a woman who lives across the street.
There's like a lot of noises, so sometimes kind of block it out until something like that, an incident like that, then being like, oh, okay, so that's probably what it was then.
So what did it sound like?
Kind of like a bang.
Now, Valles was taken to the Salem hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Now, he is expected to recover. None of the deputies involved were hurt, but you guys, this section of State Street has been shut down since 7 o'clock this morning. We're closing in on close to 12 hours of it being shut down, and I imagine it's going to be remaining shut down for the next couple of hours and heading into the evening hours. So this is an area in Salem that you're going to want to avoid. Back to you guys.
Joe Ranieri reporting live for us from Salem. Thank you for your report, Joe. We are also following breaking news out of Central Oregon, where a wildfire is forcing some evacuations. The Deschutes County Sheriff shared these photos on social media taken in La Pine, where there are level 3 go now, as well as level 1 evacuations.
We are talking about the Riverview fire, which has slowed its progress after a big response from firefighters. The Sheriff's Office says evacuation orders will remain in place until the winds there die down. So far, no homes or structures have burned. That's good news. It's unclear, though, how the fire sparked. We'll keep you updated as we learn more.
Iran was a threat. Every country realized what a threat Iran was. The question is whether or not they wanted to do something about it.
President Trump reacting tonight after the nation's top counterterrorism official and former local congressional candidate Joe Kent resigned in a scathing letter, making clear he disagrees with the president when it comes to the war in Iran.
Let's get right to our Celine Stevens with the details. Celine, what can you tell us?
Well, David and Christine, I spoke with a couple political science professors today who say that the war in Iran is highlighting the divide some Republicans are experiencing when it comes to their support of the war, which is largely unsupported by many, including Joe Kent. The president already lashing back at Kent's decision.
I always thought he was a nice guy, but I always thought he was weak on security, very weak on security.
This is President Donald Trump's response after Joe Kent released this statement Tuesday morning, resigning as director of the National Counterterrorism Center. Kent was born in Sweet Home, Oregon, and ran for Congress twice in Southwest Washington, losing both times to Marie Gluesenkamp Perez. The statement reading in part that he can't support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby.
But to see a high-profile member of President Trump's security team publicly say that there was no imminent threat from Iran and that Israel kind of coerced the United States into taking this action, I think really undermines the president's effort to get Americans on board with his policy in Iran.
President Trump not thrilled.
I read a statement, I realized that it's a good thing that he's out, because he said that Iran was not a threat. Iran was a threat. Every country realized what a threat Iran was. The question is whether or not they wanted to do something about it.
I think he does feel sort of under pressure with
some negative economic trends emerging out of the Iran war.
Public approval for the war in Iran is low, according to political science professor Ben Gaskins. While the president's voter base remains supportive, cracks are forming.
There might be some more high-profile Republicans being willing to speak out against it. So I think, like, for someone like Joe Kent, who has served in war and seen a spouse die in conflict, that there is a real, genuine ideological commitment against these types of actions, these invasions.
But as for how this could impact Kent if he decides to run for Congress again,
I think it will be very challenging for Joe Kent to run again. He will not have the backing of President Trump, presumably.
I can certainly imagine that it will make it harder for him to appeal to conservative Republican voters by being so public in breaking with the president on this key issue.
And I tried to get in contact with Joe Kent multiple times today for comment, but I have not yet received a response. Christine?
Celine Stevens giving us a local look at a huge national story. Thank you, Celine.
In your headlines tonight, police say a suspicious device found at the Rose Quarter Mac station this morning was not an explosive. This all started around 8 when transit police arrested 42-year-old Jeremy Stavanoha for violating TriMet rules, they say. That's when authorities found the device, cylindrical, black, and wrapped in tape. The man allegedly telling deputies it had ball bearings inside, which the explosive unit later confirmed, but they say it was not an explosive.
We are going to take situations like this incredibly serious due to the fact that this happened around mass transit and in close proximity to the Moda Center, where in just 48 hours, thousands of people will be congregating for basketball games.
Yeah, NCAA tournament on Thursday morning. Stavanoha now faces multiple charges.
In Portland, police arrested a suspected fentanyl dealer strapped with drugs, cash, and weapons, they say. Police say they got complaints from community members about suspicious activity near a bottle recycling center on Northeast 122nd and Gleason. Officers investigated and say the person is what they call a crumb dealer, a person who sells small amounts of fentanyl, often pre-wrapped in foil packets.
In Beaverton, police are looking for more potential victims of a man accused of abusing minors. That's after a Washington County grand jury indicted 26-year-old Joshua Delago on 19 criminal counts involving 9 victims. Court documents say that from 2019 to as recent as this month, Delago would loiter near Sunset High, provide drugs, including meth and marijuana, to underage female students, then sexually abuse them. Anyone who may have had contact with Delago or information related to this case should contact Beaverton Police.
And the historic Columbia River Highway has reopened following a landslide last week. Ongoing rain caused the hillside to give way, closing a section of that highway. Crews monitored the area as conditions improved, inspected the hillside, and cleared debris, all in order to reopen that highway. ODOT says it's planning more repairs in the coming months.